Your life is shaped by repetition. So, people often focus on big turning points in life, important decisions, major opportunities, moments that appear dramatic. But these moments are relatively rare. Most of life happens in ordinary days, and ordinary days are defined by repetition. Right? Ordinary days often go unnoticed, yet they are very crucial. The small actions repeated daily define our trajectories and form the foundation upon which our lives are built. Moreover, repetition subtly influences our choices. Each repeated action reinforces our past, guiding us towards certain outcomes, ultimately determining our direction in life over time. And there is a quiet power of repetition. Yeah? Repetition has a transformational power in our lives. What we repeat becomes familiar, and familiarity breeds ease, ultimately shaping our daily routines and life direction. Right? So in another way, what you repeat becomes familiar, and familiar becomes easier, and what becomes easier often becomes part of your routine. And over time, routines become systems, and systems quietly guide the direction of life. They make it easier, right? The structure of a system's input, process, output, and how you do something is you'll be able to find out the result of that by looking at how you do it, right? So this is why small repeated actions often have larger effects than occasional bursts of effort. Yeah. So there needs to be an awareness of patterns, right? So for example, motivation versus patterns, right? Uh, Many people rely on fleeting motivation to propel their actions, but this often diminishes over time, leaving gaps in perseverance and focus on personal growth, right? In contrast, established patterns endure, creating a stable foundation for development. These ingrained habits and behaviors continuously shape our lives, guiding us even when motivation wanes. Right? So yeah, many people underestimate how powerful repetition can be. They focus on occasional motivation, but that fades. Patterns remain. The books you repeatedly read, the conversations you always have, the habits you repeatedly practice, these patterns slowly shape how you think and act. And I actually heard this wonderful quote from another thought um, uh, leadership YouTuber. He said that where you are today is essentially the accumulation of the things you've done before to get here, right? It's the same thing when you're trying to achieve a goal, an objective, you reverse engineer it, and those steps along the way, that's what makes it up. That's what adds up, right? So, we're just humans. We are not capable of doing so much, especially at once. We have a limited capacity, and we have to know how to balance that, which one to prioritize it. And we need to know when to rest, right? Recovery is just as important as the workout, right? And over time, when you do a little better each day, just like from the books Atomic Habits, it adds up, it compounds and accumulates. And there was also something that I read somewhere. Do not be so attached to the outcome. Be attached to the things you do today that leads you to the outcome. I want to say attached, but you get what I'm saying, right? Be more um focused on that, right? Because it's not about having the wins today. It's about enjoying the journey to the outcome and um enjoying the experience of doing the things, the steps by step towards the end goal. Yeah. The books we read, the habits we practice, the thoughts we revisit create a foundation for who we are and what we do, right? Our lives are shaped by repeated experiences. So, the direction over time, repetition compounds. A small habit repeated for years becomes expertise. A repeated way of thinking becomes identity. A repeated action becomes a defining characteristic. So this is why awareness matters, because what you repeat today may quietly shape who you become tomorrow, right? So again, small habits, when done consistently, lead to gradual improvement and mastery. As we engage in in such behaviors daily, they accumulate, ultimately defining our expertise and shaping what we're capable of doing, our capabilities. Moreover, repeated thinking, through that, our repeated thoughts create the foundation of our identity. The narratives we tell ourselves shape our perceptions, influence our beliefs, and ultimately determine how we engage with the world. Right? So today shapes tomorrow. The habits we cultivate today play a crucial role in shaping our future selves. It's so beautiful, influencing our growth and the paths we choose to follow. So yeah, to end, life is profoundly shaped by the small, consistent choices that we make every day. These behaviors that are repeated accumulate over time, subtly influencing our paths and decisions. Moreover, our mindset is largely defined by the thoughts that we revisit, creating a cycle that reinforces our beliefs and attitudes, guiding our actions and ultimately our outcomes. So, a closing thought: sometimes changing your life begins with adjusting the habits you repeat daily. By consciously choosing your routines, you can shape a more fulfilling future. So, to reflect, consider the little actions you take each day. They often go unnoticed, yet they play a crucial role in shaping your overall mindset and emotional state. Moreover, engage in self reflection to uncover the habits that define your life. Understanding these patterns can lead to profound insights and empower you to make the intentional, positive changes. All right. Thank you so much.